R's targets package helps you build reproducible, scalable data analysis pipelines. To appreciate the utility of targets, let's first look at what a workflow would look like if we weren't using it. To demonstrate this, I've set up this very rudimentary example. We start by importing the libraries we're going to be using. Then we import our data. We do some cleaning and processing on that data. We run a simple model on the data, and then finally we generate a plot. Then to execute our code, we can just source the entire file. And because our data are small and the work we're doing with it is straightforward, it happens almost instantaneously. But let's imagine this scaled up. Let's say the data, instead of just being a handful of rows, was actually hundreds of gigabytes of data that we're having to import and then also process. Let's say the model was much more advanced. We were actually doing some sort of training model. Everything is just scaled up. And in that situation, it's no longer efficient to just source the entire file anytime we want to test code changes that we've made, because there's no sense in importing hundreds of gigabytes of data repeatedly just to test something further in our code if nothing about the data itself has changed. Likewise, let's say we were focusing on the plotting and nothing about the model is changed. It doesn't make sense to repeatedly run the model when all we care about are changes that have been made to the plots. Now, of course, the easiest thing to do in that situation is just source the part of the code that is changing, right? So if we're just interested in changes made to our plotting code, we could select that code and we could choose just to execute that rather than sourcing the entire file. But let's say we had also gone back and changed how we were cleaning the data. Because the plot is using that clean data, it's dependent on it. So we would need to make sure we remember to run both these chunks of code. We'd have to first update our clean data, and then we could execute just the plotting code to reflect the changes we had made to the data. Now, again, in this very small rudimentary example, all of that is completely manageable, but imagine everything scaled up so that we had a lot more data, a lot more steps to work with that data. And those steps, because we're dealing with a larger amount of data and perhaps more complex models, take longer to execute. We really want to be prudent about the code that we're having to run every time we're making changes. And that's where the targets package comes in. To see how the targets package can optimize a workflow, let's set up an example with what I've got so far. I'll begin by installing the targets package. So just in the console, we'll say install.packages, targets. And then in the root of my project, I'm going to create a new file called _targets.r. This is like the main configuration file for your targets managed project. For the contents of this file, I'm going to go over to the notes that accompany this video and just copy the example from there just to expedite the process. And let's run through this step by step. Step 1, we need to load the targets library. And then step 2, we need to indicate which libraries our pipeline is going to use. So in this case, it's dplyr and ggplot2. Which if we go back to our basic R example, you can see those were the two libraries we used as part of this process. So here we're just telling targets via the tar option set that these are the packages we're going to be needing to load as part of our pipeline. Following that is the pipeline itself. And this is going to be made up of a list of targets, where each target is just a step in our pipeline. So in our case, step 1 is just registering the file itself as a target. So we use the tar target function. We give it a name. I'm just calling it file. We indicate a path to our file. And then we're specifying that the format of this particular target is a file. So this is really just about registering to the targets pipeline. We have this file that we're going to be working with. The remainder of the steps mirror what we saw in our regular R file, where we go through the process of importing, cleaning, modeling, and plotting. All right, we could see that here. Let's start with the importing or the loading of the data. So once again, we use the tar target function. We give this target a name. We're going to call it scores raw. And then following that, we need the command we're going to execute as part of this target. So here we're just going to import that data. So we're going to do read.csv on our file target. And we can see that same pattern applied for the remainder of the steps. So we invoke tar target, we give the target a name, and then we specify the command or the code we want to execute for that target. So in step 3, here's where we're cleaning our data. So we do some filtering on it. Step 4 is where we do the modeling. So we call this model. And then here's the command or the code to actually build that model. And then finally plot. This is the final target name, and here's the code to generate that target. So effectively, we have the same code we saw in our bare bones R file. We've just organized it around this idea of a pipeline and targets. And now I want to run this pipeline. Before I do that, though, I am going to restart my R session just so any of the previous session and the plots I had generated from my first example are cleared out. We've got a blank slate. In Positron, I'm going to do that in the console by clicking the little Restart R icon down here. If I was in RStudio, I could go to Session Restart R. Then I'm going to run or source the entire targets file. And to actually execute my pipeline in the console, I'm going to execute the function tar make. And from this output, we can see a list of all the targets that were executed, which in this case was all of them because this was the very first time we ran the pipeline. But watch what happens if we run it again without changing any of the code. So I'm just going to bring back the tar make command and rerun that. You can see that nothing was dispatched. Everything was skipped in the pipeline because it didn't detect any changes to our code. But now let's make a change. Let's say we were tweaking our plot, and just as an example, I'll update the title. So I make my edit, I save my file, and I run tar make again. And you can see it detected the only object to change was that plot object. So it dispatched that again, and then it completed the pipeline, and it didn't run any of the other code because there was no reason to. But let's give it a reason to. Let's go back to the first step of our pipeline, which is registering the data. What happens if something changes in the data? And for this, I'm just going to open up the raw CSV for scores and just make an edit to the first row. So once again, if we go back and rerun our pipeline with tar make, you can see that this time the entire pipeline reran because we started at the beginning, we made a change there, and everything else is really dependent on that. So it was necessary for every step that followed to also rerun to register the changes that happened in our file. Now let's contrast that. Let's make a change further along in the pipeline. We're going to do this at step 3. I'm just going to add another filtering step. All right, this is just going to remove the highest score. It's just an arbitrary change. And then rerun our pipeline. And observe, it didn't start at the very beginning of registering the file object and then importing it. It went straight to the scores object, which is what we actually changed. And then because the plotting and the modeling was dependent upon that, it also reran that code. So long story short, once you've built your pipeline, Target keeps track of what steps in that pipeline are dependent upon each other and only reruns what is necessary. To understand your dependencies, you can run the function tar viz network. This is going to generate a plot that shows all of your targets and their dependencies to one another. And looking at this, it becomes clear why when we changed scores, model and plot were also dispatched because they came after that score step within the chain. Likewise, when we changed file, because it was at the very beginning of the chain, everything else got redispatched. So now that we've wrapped our heads around this idea of a target pipeline, let's talk about where are the results of our code, right? Where is our plot? Where is our linear model? Where is our data set that we're loading into these objects? None of it is just appearing in our session variables or in the plots plane in the same way that it did when we ran our traditional R script. And the reason for that is the way the target system works is any of the results of our code are stored as a cache. Specifically, you'll see that this underscore targets directory was generated for us when we started running tar make. And if we go in there, we can see things like objects. And within objects, we can see cache versions of all the things we created. Here's our model, here's our plot, here's our scores raw, right? This all comes from our different targets within our pipeline. Now to access these things, we're going to use tar underscore read. So let's say, for example, we want to see our plot. We're going to say tar read plot, and there we can see our plot in the plot pane. Similarly, if we wanted to look at the process data itself, so that was just underscores, we can see that output in the console. Or if we wanted to load it into our session, we could say tar load and reference scores. So now you can see it's an object in our session. We could interact with it. We could view it just like we would any other object. The final modification I want to make to this pipeline and this example is I'd like to outsource some of the commands that are happening with my targets. Right now, everything is just jammed inside of this targets.r file, and that works for this small example, but you can imagine as your project grows in complexity, so will your number of targets, and the underlying commands or code that your targets are executing, they're going to grow themselves, and it's not going to make sense to just have everything in this one monolithic file. So we want to divide and conquer this out into separate function files. To do this, I'm going to start by creating a subdirectory called R. And then let's use step 5 as our example. Let's take the action of generating this ggplot, and we're going to put it in its own function. So within my R subdirectory I just created, I'm going to create a new file. Let's call it generateplot.r. And this is going to have a function called generateplot. It's going to need the scores to work with. And I'm just going to take my ggplot code, extract it from my pipeline, and put it within this function. Then for the command, I'll just reference that function and make sure it gets access to our scores target, which is generated above. And then finally, to make sure that this function that I define in this R subdirectory is accessible, at the top of my file, I'm going to invoke a function called tar source. And then we'll just run tar make one final time to run our pipeline and make sure it executes without any errors. So with that, I will wrap up this example, but hopefully this has given you a broad idea of how the targets package can be used to optimize your workflow. It's probably overkill for small one-off scripts, but if you've got anything with multiple steps, you're dealing with advanced model training, working with large data sets that require a lot of pre-processing, having a pipeline system like targets in place is just going to make your work faster, cleaner, and more reproducible.